This secret crypto's about to boom, and this time it's for real. If you guys usually come here for XCN, I highly recommend you see the other opportunities that are being presented to you in this video, as there are a lot of good ones. But with that being said, this is NC Hammer Crypto. My name is Neil, keeping technical analysis short and sweet. We see a tweezer bottom happening in the daily with Bitcoin, which is technically more of a bullish signal, which we could see this do a little W, form right back up towards this upward trend line. And then we may get a little bit more of a rejection to shake out some more of the weak hands, potentially pushing down, but 105 right at this 200 EMA is where there are a lot of buyers. So if it does push down, we are going to see a lot of support down in this area, which will ultimately push it back very quickly, and all the sellers will just start buying up once it makes it to this point, pushing it further up. Keeping in mind that none of this is financial advice. It is not a pyramid scheme. One of my videos got flagged for some reason, saying it was a pyramid scheme or something, but it is not. It is not a pyramid scheme. I'm just showing you guys what I'm thinking. But looking at Bitcoin with the tweezer bottom, we can see it push up and then a little bit further down if it gets rejected off that, and so on. But moving into the coins that are more secretive, PERP. PERP is building up beautifully. If you don't know about it, now you know. We are at 27.5 cents more or less, and its all-time high is about $24. So you do the math on that. Almost 3 dimes to $24 is a pretty potential substantial gain. Keeping in mind, it's not financial advice, but getting over that 200 EMA, we could even see a peak similar to this, which was 88%, just getting over that 200 EMA. And we could see that would be potentially 88% from the 200 EMA. It's right here at 62 cents. If we get a rejection there, we want to be holding above that 200 EMA. But PERP is coiling up. It's getting a lot of pressure within this area, and getting higher lows. So pushing up over that 200 EMA is key, but it's got a lot of room to run. XDC still in consolidation, pushing back towards the 200 EMA. Even with Bitcoin pushing down and pushing up, this is staying pretty stable. So we just want to see some higher lows or even a touch on the 200 EMA, which is at that 618, before looking at a potential entry for the push up towards this previous high. Spell, bringing back Spell. It is retracing, getting rejected off that downward trend line, but we see that it is testing this 200 EMA many times. So this is kind of the range we are working within. We just need to get over that 200 EMA. We see there's large volume spikes, so people don't want this to go any lower. They want to keep buying it and break this downward trend line, ultimately pushing it up very quickly to the upside, where there is a major sell zone in the 0.002, and then the next area is 0.003 and beyond. Moving on over to CTSI. Still in its retracement, lower volume. It is still decreasing in price, but the volume's lower, so they're not selling as much. We're getting a little bit of a wick off with the CM Guppy. The 200 EMA, we probably will push up over it, test it maybe once or twice more is my guess, and then take off that 200 EMA. But I don't think we're going to be touching this downward trend line. It is still a possibility if we do see a rapid deduction in price in the market. But for the most part, keep an eye on CTSI. It also has a very long way to go to get to its top. What is it? $1.79. And we see very high volume right here. Probably the highest volume we've seen in the past. But 7 cents to $1 is a very good ROI. But it's not financial advice in any way. Just keep an eye on that one. IOTX, still in consolidation, trying to hold above the 200 EMA and the upward trend line. RSI looks very healthy. Excuse me. We are pushing over this downward trend line, which isn't very important. I just see if we can push up over that, which would be holding above that 200 EMA and testing this upward 0.034 yet again for IOTX. But again, this coin is at a very, very low point. If you want a very high probability, this has a very high probability for the upside. Not much further downside, even if you hold on to this coin. It's at its pretty low point. So once we get over that 200 EMA, we can see a testing of this downward trend line, which that alone, just pushing up from where we are at, is about 140%. The 618 is at 110%. So IOTX, it's in consolidation, which brings me to one of my favorites, Tornado. Tornado is about as healthy as it gets. 200 EMA pushing upwards. CM Guppy, very, very strong support. Holding this upwards, it's breaking downward trend lines. We could readjust this as a downward trend line and see if it stays within the wedge here. However, I think we are going to get a further push up over this high and close, and then start seeing this thing take off. It's been in consolidation for April, May, June, July, August, almost half a year. So you've had your opportunity to enter. It's above $11. It's still a very, very good entry. All-time high is at $4.59. You can trade it on MEXC. The reference link is in the description below. If you use that reference link, you get 10 USDT for free, and you could use that to buy Tornado Cash. But none of this is financial advice. Yet again, moving on over to Doge. And, oh, I got a lot to bust out. Still looking very healthy, holding above 21 cents. Upward trend line, getting a little bit of a wick off. We could see this consolidate into this area before ultimately breaking this 24 cents and pushing upwards very, very quickly for Doge. Aerodrome, still building up off that CM Guppy. You have time to enter into this before it starts moving its next leg up, as it is starting to consolidate a bit. But we do see rapid movements once it has that consolidation. Very quickly pushes up out of the CM Guppy. See as how back here it touched through the CM Guppy. We could potentially see that here, testing through the CM Guppy before ultimately pushing up and beyond up towards $2 for Aerodrome. Now XCN, everybody's favorite, everybody's freaking out. This is just what I see. I see that we may have a potential double bottom here, as we have with these blue lines. Double bottom, we may see this push down into this fair value gap, where we have a bunch of buyers, we have a bunch of people getting liquidated on their accounts because it's breaking certain areas, and there's a lot of money being sold off while being bought up at the same time, which with that volume could push this right back up towards this downward or upward trend line, and it would get all the people who sold at the absolute bottom out before that real quick increase in price, and they would be starting with a higher bag than just holding on to it from the previous decrease, minus the money that they lost with that sell-off. So I think there's a lot of buyer volume down here, just like there is in Bitcoin around 105K. This has a lot of buy, just flashing red lights to push this back up towards the downward trend line before breaking that and taking off. And I show you these other coins because with XCN, when you start taking your profits, it always has a retracement. Like we saw back here, it had that major dump after the 2000%. We could see that major push up, and then for a while it's going to be dumping and consolidating, finding some support, while another coin could be taking off with the money that you had acquired. So like Compound is at an absolute low, but building higher lows. So if you took $100 that you made with the other coin, put it into Compound at its absolute low, and then it takes off 125%, then you're gaining money with the money that you earned, and you are also diversifying your bag, which is all good things. But make sure you're not catching the run. You don't want to be buying in at a point like right here at $92 and then not selling up whenever it goes to 120, thinking it will go higher, and it comes right back down, and then you just want to break even, then you want profit, and then it just starts taking your money. You don't want any of that happening, so it's best to diversify and switching to multiple different coins. QNT, BNT, XYO. QNT testing the upward trend line and 200 EMA yet again, building a W in the RSI. We just need a little bit of volume, but I believe once this consolidates a little bit more and starts pushing towards this downward trend line, we will see that break to the upside. I think this 200 EMA is pretty strong, even with Bitcoin pushing down. I think we wouldn't be hitting this low around $90 anymore. Yeah, anything is possible, and this is not financial advice, but very stable. Keeping in mind the CM Guppy, whenever it turned into gray, we usually saw a little bit more red, but we immediately pushed out of that and came right back into the green. With that, I mean, like this, for example, we had the push up and then it came down to the gray, red, but then pushed up right where it was turning gray. We could see the gray, the red, push up to the gray, and then up and out. This is a possibility. But if you are in the red, I would just recommend trying to stack a bigger bag, or do not sell. Just wait for your ride out of this box. Breaking that downward trend line and getting above this previous high is all you really need before you can start diversifying. And again, not financial advice. BNT is also about as healthy as Tornado, pushing upwards. We could consider this a double top here, so that's where we had that major push down. If we can hold a higher low, we just need to test this high yet again, and we can see a further move upwards. However, if this upward trend line breaks, this black one right here, we could see a little bit further low, a little bit more of a retracement to get that 200 EMA a little bit closer before ultimately taking off, as we have tested this downward trend line multiple times and held support, so we may test it yet again if we see that retracement. Whew, long video. XYO. This one is the sleeping giant. Just wait, consolidate, get your bag stacked for XYO, because this one is going to rip when it breaks over this downward trend line and that 200 EMA. This thing will take off, but it's not stating that you're just going to make a bunch of money really quick. It's saying that it is going to pump very quickly, and you are going to wish that you had entered back at the 1 cent mark before this makes it back up to 2.5, 3, 4, 5. I believe it was 25 cents, 8 cents. That seems invalid. Anyways, XYO. XYO is at a very, very low point right now. Highly recommended, but not financial advice. DNT, similar thing to Tornado, trying to get over that 200 EMA and close, and then we'll start seeing that upward momentum with DNT, as it too is at an absolute low and has a very, very long way to go. This is another one that I'd recommend for quicker movements. We see that quick push up, a sell off, and then a major push up all the way up to around 20 cents from back here when it was 2 cents. So 10x, and then back down to nothing. DNT can do that again and beyond the 10x. So it's not a bad bet to put a little money in here that you gain from the other coins that you are cashing out profit with. But yet again, not financial advice in any way. We are holding support on this 618 Fibonacci and the upward trend line. We need a little bit more volume. Could we see a lower low back down to 0.07? Yes, I imagine we would get a hold there if it did push that low. We just need to get over that 200 EMA and the 10 cent mark. That's it for this video. Like and subscribe if you want. References in the description below. Good luck. Have fun with it. I will see you on the next one.